Oh. All right. I'm back. So, this morning, we're going to work on some fur. We started making some better blending. A little hard to see, but some better blending and transition on the fur. So we're just trying to continue that by rotating some of these. So for example, this is what it looks like before. You can see we're getting this nice transition now, certain spots. But some of them are oriented incorrectly, so we want to see if we can turn them. Reason the gradation is a little tough. I wonder if that's more a reflection of the weights. So we got this kind of odd spot here. Maybe I need to smooth it out a little bit more. Or no, we still can update which pieces are getting picked. That would be helpful. Because we can do a mix. Here where it goes out far enough and it's just using the larger fur. Like this. So use the larger fur tufts. Tufts. Which honestly, I'd rather have just be this one because that gives us nice even fill. I mean, it's meant to be monstrous, so the little chunkiness feels correct. Okay. But we'll use our attribute as the factor. So 0 to 1, 0 to 1. We want to use which strand? 0, 1, 2. So we want to use 2 here. Okay, let me just double check something really quick. Sure. 0 is these tufts, which look good. 1 is the larger tufts, and 2 are the small, scraggly tufts, which for some reason are very small. Interesting. That could explain a lot of the weirdness that we're having. It's a discrepancy in scale. So perhaps, am I scaling this at any point? Right here. We'll set this to 1. Now they're all the same size. these. Integer. Pretty please. Okay, so that's the curve that we're filling up with. That is not the same one. I want these strands. So why are we getting... Oh, okay. I see. We drop this in like this. We actually need to ensure that this is an input and that we're using the latest collection. So I kind of get the feeling that they were referencing different ones. Okay. Perfect. I guess this is the same chunk of fluff. Yeah, because we get these little wispy ones. Okay, so that is the same one. These are the same. Alright, so 2 is the one we want to be using up close. Do a greater than. There we go. So we're getting these strands up top. So I'm gonna flip this. This is so challenging. 2. Ah. So we're plugging that into the wrong thing. You shall not pass. Be gone. Be gone. Part of the issue was the actual origin of a geometry. Now we should be able to see them better, or at least this thinner fur is kind of building up a lot nicer. Now I do want to ensure that the curve is the start of the fur. So we need to adjust this here. It's very different for certain spots. I wonder why that is. What if we turn off our blur? Hmm. Another one? Hmm. It's the wrong. It's even the wrong collection. So close to figuring this out. So realize the instances. This fur here is way too far off the body. That's it right there. It's where the origin is. Hello, dear bows. Welcome. So let's not rotate it here. We actually would want to rotate the source itself. So transform geometry. So we could rotate it on the Y 180. See how much it's flipping from side to side? That's a big discrepancy. So what do we do there? We will make another one. And then we'll set the origin to geometry on this one. Okay. That way, we can use just that one. This one's actually centered. So if we flip it, it stays in the same spot. Very important. That way I can understand how I'm building up these shapes. Okay. So that's good. And thank you for the subscription. Follow there. I'm a little spacey this morning. We're working on some fur. Making a system to do this fast for us because we're lazy. Wait, that's for the distribution there. We actually need we need to turn this into an input so I can reference this a little bit better. Group input B, which we'll call hair edge. Input. So now they have the same. We should be able to adjust this. They all get updated. But we do want to add a little offset to ours here. We'll do math. Do -0.1. Okay, there we go. So now I can adjust this and feel pretty confident this is going to be in the right spot. Be flush with the surface. Maybe we just need to shrink wrap it at this point. We have this set position node here. So here. Take our object. This is what we want to sample for position. So sample the nearest surface, and then we set our position. But the trick is that we're going to realize our instances right here. And then when we set it, that seems to get rid of the clipping we already seen. To even better confirm that, we'll just look at it by itself. Interesting. Sample near a surface. But we are getting some of it going under. How to ensure it's above? Well, when we sample the object, we can make a comparison between the normal of our current geometry and the normal of the geometry we're sampling from. So we'll do that. So we realize the instances. We sample our surface. We will also sample it for normal. And then we can say, what is the dot product between the normal of our sample geometry and our current normal? And then I believe I do believe that's the comparison we want, but I don't know how to change where it ends up because we're just putting the position. So we have our geometry, we go right there. Sometimes it goes on the other side. So I think what we want to actually calculate is an offset. Because the position will be the same. So what we actually want is just to use the dot product to scale an offset. Which obviously this is way too much. So we will normalize. Should already be normalized. Math, please. And we're going to multiply by 0.01 something. So close. Still the same issue though. So put it on the position and then offset it. We just need to split this really quick. Hello, Popstar, welcome. So instead of doing position and offset together, do them separately. Oh, actually, okay. Can't we just add this together? It's probably the exact same thing as using the offset, but it just seems... Why is it going under? Fur's going okay. We're making progress, but it'll take a little bit of time. Actually, I shouldn't even need my own object here. I should just be able to take the normal and add it to the position. So close. So close. Oh, we were using the original geometry position. Do I even need this now? I don't think I do. Or it's better to say that it is literally the same as this. There we go. Okay, well that explains the discrepancy a whole lot more. Okay, so basically we have this little hairline that exists at the end of our selection. And the nice part is it's oriented towards center, so it should provide a nice way for me to transition the fur. Now it no longer clips, which was annoying that it was happening, but now it won't clip no matter what. Excuse me. Density should be the same. We are merging by distance. We should have even coverage here. Even that way, but not. Why not this way? I'm trying to figure out now is why is there a gap sometimes and then not other times? I mean, with the way the hair cards can be oriented when they spin, they would actually look quite different. If this one spins, it's going to be in a basically completely different spot. Okay, so let's focus instead on aligning the rotation between these two. So that's what we were trying a little while ago. And let's take this section and we'll call this shrink, wrap, curve, fur. So that's what we're doing there. All right, this section is where we're trying to. So we sample the nearest one. We're just gonna do this from scratch. I'm just gonna redo it. So, because I know that we have to start for each. So for each of these instances, oh, that is a really slow node. I don't know about that. That's way too slow. Okay. We were sampling the index before. It'd probably actually be easier to use our shrink wrapped one then. And what we can do is just store named attribute right here. And we'll store it on our points, I guess. And it will be a vector. What we want is the instance rotation. We can save that here, and we can call this curve for rotation. All right, so we should have that stored now. And then, hello, Yanwea, welcome back. Hello. Let's work again. I see that fur. It looks better on this werewolf. It's improving. It is improving. Slowly but surely. Steadily. We've got a few options. But right now we're trying to work on getting this transition here cleaned up. Because that looks bad. We want a little bit nicer. So we're going to go ahead and rotate instances here by sampling our near surface for the named attribute that we just made for rotation. This will be a vector, and we want to do that. Oh, that didn't change anything. Let me go here. Oh, right. Right now, we're sampling it from the points. We actually need to sample it after we realize it. Otherwise, we're not actually sampling geometry. We're just sampling instances. Those don't exist yet. Okay, it's not storing any value there. Can I store it on the instance then? There we go. So now, sampled it, we can access it. We are rotating, but why? We have the values. And it is curved for a rotation. Ah, I always do that. There. There we go. Okay. So now we're aligning our fur properly. But it's way too strong. And part of that is the distance. So we'll do one more sample of the same mesh, this time for its position. This just defaults to position, right? Sample position. Position to start from when finding the closest location by default is the same as a position. Okay. True. We sampled that one. Take this one. Do distance. Between these two. And then we can take our rotation. And oh my god, please let me select that. We could scale the vector. It'd be close. Scale it based on the distance. So that would mean, unfortunately, that it's kind of the opposite way, though. We want the most rotation closest, not the least amount of rotation closest. We want the maximum rotation as close as possible. So we need to flip this distance value. But at some point it has to, we need to change the threshold, so I guess that would be just the fur right next to it. Interesting. It just kind of makes it real fluffy. Okay. So the issue there is that it's rotating, it's literally like flipping or rotating any which way to get there. We would actually want the curves to pivot so that they're not flipping and we're not getting this kind of, if we look at the side, we get this kind of open section. We don't want that. This is version 1. We'll go ahead and just move it up here. Okay. So we got the rotation. Why don't we turn that into a direction instead? So can we do rotation to direction, to axis angle? We take our rotation. Let me look this up really quick. Okay. Let's just Google this a little bit more directly. So, Blender, instance, rotation, to direction. Hello, Arctic. Good morning. I think that's what we want there. Please let me click. I don't know why my mouse starts doing that sometimes. Okay, so we do have the rotation value. We'd like to set a direction, so we would want to pivot on the y-axis. Guessing that we do that, and then we drop our actual rotation here. And then rather than doing this, we want to align rotation to vector. Obviously, we have our instance rotation here, and then we just like to align to it. No idea if that's working. Okay. Does make some interesting shapes. Center 0, 0. I know for sure we want to pivot. Okay, maybe I shouldn't add the instance rotation. Just the vector. And again, turning on the y. Or no, we would want the z direction and pivot on the y. Yeah, I think that's working. Well, I think it is. It's just very strong. Okay. Once again, we'll scale this. So boom. So it could really only be the edges that are rotating to match. Well, I think it's doing what I want it to. Is it better though? Pretty torn on this one. Pretty torn. It's nice, but is it really making that big of a difference? Well, there's a little bit of alignment. You know, if it was the right type of clumps, that would certainly help, rather than these other clumps. If we just had it does look better on the transition edges. Okay, so now we want to work on our logic of how we gradate. So basically on the edge here, it goes from 0 to 1, 0, 1 of the weights. And at certain thresholds, we want it to be a different instance. So that'd be first strand A, B. So you can see how my mouse is messing up. So we want to, as there's different ones, we want to choose different values. So wish we could mix a few different values together. But at the very least, we can make it just a concrete change. So we'll start with that. We have our fur right here. And when it's greater than 0.5, we'll choose 0. Zero, 1. Oh, you know, it'd help plugging it in. So this goes perfect. So now we can see we're getting the smaller chunks and the larger chunks. That looks fucking good. Look at that. It's a little odd, some of the directions they're taking, but it does now have a nice soft transition between the layers, which feels a lot more natural than it did before. I think we could clean it up even more, but it looks good. In fact, let's switch this to 3. Lumpy. Could also shrink wrap them. Let's make a backup copy. We've made a lot of work. Hate to risk losing it, so. For all right. So now we have this way to randomize the scale. which I do like a lot. That's not doing anything. Because I'm not passing it on. A little too fluffy. I'd like to mix the vector. Actually, I guess since we're doing the same, let's we'll keep it a little bit simpler. Mix this 0 with, of course, our named attribute mask fur. Beautiful. Swap these. Should be 1. A little bit smaller is kind of nice, to be honest. Okay, not bad. Another thing to change is that we want 3 to be strand 3, which is what we're using right here. We like that. We like how that's working. But for our the one here, we'd like to be swapping that value so that we get a bit more variation in here. Just to show them. Oh. All right, it's looking pretty good now. Still probably a little bit too fluffy. So let's bring this down to 2. Maybe 1.25. Be nice to change the color too. It's just a little too, just a little too fluffy. Do more of like a bluish kind of look. Still getting this other color. Cool. Get rid of that one. Oh. The fur is probably still a little too much fur. Let's look at some more reference. Reference. Okay, so looking at our boys here, we got our Bloodborne werewolf. And man, it's just very dark, the whole thing. Dark skin, dark fur, really lends itself to blending together. Same here, just darker and dark. So maybe my skin's a little too dull for the werewolf. Let's swap it out. I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna go painter. Oh, quite pale. Go on the opposite side of the dark and leathery. Our highlights. Bring it down a little. There. Definitely some nice leathery skin there. I like the look of it. For a micro bump, let's go the other way. Some of that. Maybe trust a little bit more. Very cool. Save. Export. Obviously, there's more to do. We still gotta get the mouth working, but I want to see how this blends with the fur most of all. Cool. Right, part of what we can do too is help increase the look of the fur. Yeah. Interior of it darker. So I think for now we'll just do that all through some shader magic. Just make a gradient texture, linear. We'll just mix it right over this. So I'll take this, color goes here. Ah. The issue is that obviously these are in some very different spots. You know what? That's okay because we should actually be able to do this quite easily, just all within our fur baker. By adding in a plane, shading, let's do only diffuse, or do we have a holdout? It's not what I want. Okay. No, I was actually hoping this would only affect the hair. And do that by adding in a light path node. And we would just mix again the transparency. If it's a camera ray, we got clicking. Okay, useless. There we go. It's a goddamn bot. Oh, Jesus. Man, man. It should just be darker than this. But we gotta let that go. It looks pretty interesting on its own. Amazing. Man. Not sure how I'm going to transfer the weights on this. As soon as the cat released me, I'm turning the heating up. It's heckin' freezing in the office. It's heckin' freezing. Why are we getting an edge on this now? What is that? That must be where it's intersecting with the body? She's using my hand as a pillow, so it's illegal for me to move. Illegal. All right. So I guess what we want to do now is actually change this to a type of weight paint we want. So we'll just remove it. We'll do like a paint. Still getting some intersection here, and I don't like that. They look like maximum fluff. All right, one more thing to change. I would like these all to scale. Not randomly, but with the staff. So, scale instances. Scale line XYZ to a vector. This will be a named attribute. You guessed it. Now it kind of eases out. Starts scaling down closer to the edges here, which should give us some nice-ish results. At least gives us a little bit more control. All right. Like we're just set on recreating exactly what I just had, but that's okay. Cranium. That cranium. Alright, we do. It would be nice to have some more control on the direction of certain tufts. I know there was ways to paint direction with like a texture. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll give that a shot. Or I could go back to using my tool. You know, I didn't really like sculpting the mesh. I thought that that was kind of difficult. So maybe we'll use like an empty object to just like in this area of influence, pull them this direction or towards the empty. Yeah, let's do that. Also, it might be good to, hello Riso, it might be good to mirror the geonodes exactly rather than having them be random on both sides. We're working on a fur generator. We're getting pretty good now. We're getting some good results at the moment. Slowly but surely. Came here to say hi real quick before I get back to work. I have a lot of stuff to do today. Well, good. That's exciting. Hopefully, a lot of fun stuff. A random rotation. So what I want to do now in the body hair, we're going to make a new collection called Body Hair Controllers. And we'll make an empty in here. And we'll put it at the top of the head. And then we're going to do input. Take a collection. And we're going to drop this right here. Do relative. Okay. So the empty is just above the head. And we'd like to, once again, rotate our instances. You know what? I actually will... Oh my god, please let me grab that. Something's wrong with my mouse. Right here. So, save that. Rotate instances. Boom. There. going to get instance position. Nearest, sample nearest. So we're going to take the instances, sampling the nearest, nothing. Can you even get anything out of that then? I haven't added the collections. This goes here. You have instances. They don't survive this. So I guess what we'd want to do is turn this into points. Instances to, oh goodness. Instances 2 points. Then we want an instance on here. Actually, no, that should be enough. Should be able to work with just this, because now we should have just 1 point. Yay. And we can sample nearest point. Okay. What are we sampling for? So that was right. Bam, we are sampling for position. And it's the same geometry. All right. So now, from our instances, we should be able to get the nearest index as a position. Now, what we'll do, take that value and subtract it. So from our current position to this new position, we now have a vector to it. Then we want to take our rotation and align rotation to vector. This is our vector. This is the rotation. And we want to pivot on the Z towards the Y. That. Maybe the other direction. So let's see. Should have rotation. Do I want to put in instance rotation there? I don't think I did that with my buffer. We rotated them. Just gave it a generic vector. There's no point and there's no sampling. We do have a single point here. but perhaps I need to realize them. Still a point. So maybe we do instance on points, and we simply instance a mesh line set to 1. Now we should have something to sample. One point. Huh. Oh, duh. Then we realize. Okay, good. So now we actually have a vertex we can sample. We can actually sample geometry. Still not affecting anything. That's okay. Let's get rid of this. Empty. Move it around. These are empty. Nothing. Sample index, nearest point. Okay. Just weird it's not getting affected in the slightest. Negative 0.012, 0.01. Oh. That's goofy. We are doing relative, so that should come out fine. It should be the same. Just somewhere, just right down here. I can see that point now. That's definitely not the point I want. So instead of using an empty, I'll delete that and we'll make a plane, which I will merge at center. Now we're going to have a single vertex. Okay. So we have a collection. Take the instances, we made them points. Now I think we can just skip straight to realizing the instances. There we go. Okay, so we want to do this. Should point so. Apple. Hmm. This one is technically correct. Still don't look too great. Darn. Okay. Let me select, please. Alright, I guess we're leaving that alone for now. I do need some sort of way to control it, though. Let me back up. So I think I will do something like this. Ugh. Not enough control. Not enough control. So for our points here, we're going to do one change. We're going to make sure it's symmetrical. So what we'll do is delete our points. But only if position is less than 0. Cool. Then we'll take them, these points, and we'll transform them by scaling them on the negative x. But for these ones, we'll delete it if the x equals 0. Please. So now we have this. We have these points. Boom. We'll join. Geometry. That looks really odd. The rotation should be the same, but the normal needs to be flipped for these ones. So we'll say store named attribute right here, and we'll call this flipped points, and we'll make it a selection. Then we'll take our normal. And we don't want to get rid of it. We want to flip it. So if it's pointed this way, we want it to point that way. It's on the x. We flip it on the x. Excuse me. So I think all we need to do is multiply this. By -1, 1. And then we mix the vector here. We use our named attribute, flipped points. Or maybe instead of multiplying, we rotate the vector. (180°). Then we'd have to multiply it. Alright, that's bad. So instead of doing it this way, we still want to use the flip normals, but this is not working well. So we'll do that. And what we'll do is sample nearest surface. For the normal. So scaling it does not seem to work. So let's not scale it. Let's set the position. But we'll take position. Separate that. Then combine it. Boom. Boom. And for our X position, we'll simply multiply it by -1. Oh, shit. You always put it in the sample position. Alright, still looks really messed up. But that should be it. Darn, I thought that'd work. Oh, another difficult one. What's it look like before we align anything? Pretty much identical on both sides. All right, well, another another pass on that one. Oh, sure. Actually, okay. I could move it a little further downstream. I could do another Boolean, flipped, um, flipped, flip points. And the selection is, of course, position, right, less than 0. Boom, boom. Okay, so now both those work. We can delete geometry. I'm going to delete anything. Okay, we did set it up to save it. Actually, this is. What is that even doing? Where we go? Scale instances. Wait, what the? Why? Where did my store attribute go? Oh, here we go. So now the fur is mirrored. Or actually, I won't. I won't mirror it here. I will just delete half of it, and then we'll actually mirror it later. So these should be getting deleted here. Unless there's still instances. I'm confused why some of these are surviving getting deleted. So storing this right here, maybe I have to say store instance. There we go. For some reason this works fine. Oh, because I'm storing it on the points. Gotcha. Phew. Okay. Hmm. I'm gonna go to the restroom really quick. back again. All right. So, final thing we're going to do is start integrating our little mesh deformation here because that was working well. And I think we can still utilize it. So, get rid of this. This is our scaling the fur, so we'll go ahead and save that. Let's put it in here for now. This is our attribute for cutting things in half. Here. Just encapsulating stuff I don't want to think about. All right. Hey, Frost Fox. Thank you for the sub. Welcome, welcome. We're making a werewolf right now. Slowly working on our fur. Okay, so deformation. So we have our original cage position, and that's what we're saving right here. So we stored these as UV map position and UV map normal. Those are our two main values. In fact, I want to really highlight them for later by just giving them a nice bright color, because why not? So what we want to do is get a vector from our current position on the instance to the position we've saved. So we'll do position, subtract, and our name attribute UV map position. So we have these two. Now this is a vector. Boom, boom. Okay, we'll save that. And then, of course, we'll add our favorite, the one we've been using forever this whole time, rotate vector. Oh, sorry. Rotate instances. And with this vector, we can align our current rotation to the vector we made. Okay, this is too strong, so we'll go ahead and mix this. Mix the vector. Can I find that? next to the vector based on the distance as well. So we have the vector direction, and we can also get the distance. So the less distance, the less change. Oh. Okay. Also, just having the fur attribute multiplied against this would be pretty nice. That's fur and math multiply, just to really enforce where the influence is coming from. Excuse me. All right. So this, again, allows us to rotate the instances. Towards the mesh, and I like that. So leave it there. We'll call this one rotate towards deformed mesh. Very useful. Then we do all these operations, adding basically random scale, random rotation. We align the fur rotation with curve fur. And that one should go last. One of our kind of cleanup ones. But we also would like to do one more very similar thing here, where we did the rotate towards deformed mesh. It's going to copy this whole thing. Rename it. Scale on Y towards deformed mesh. The reason I'm doing it after is I do want I want it to meet exactly. I want it to push out to the edge of the actual cage so we can get more precise control on the pieces that we need it on. So we'll take this, lock it in, and lock this in. So right now we're doing rotation. Let's get rid of that. And we're going to scale instances. Excuse me. So let me the distance is all that matters here. I don't necessarily need the vector at that this time. Just the distance is getting masked by our mask. What I need to sample is our instance scale. And we'll separate this because we just want the Y. This is our current scale. Slowly but surely, the fur will be tamed. I just need to give myself a little bit more manual control on how things are going. And then I think we'll be done. Well, we'll be able to make a lot of werewolf variations. And when we get back this afternoon, we're going to work on just finishing texturing everything. Okay, so current scale on the Y. We need to compare this to what? The distance. How many times can we fit our current scale into this distance? That's what we want to know. That gives us a ratio, which we can then multiply probably gonna make things small. A little messed up. Oh. Oh, shit. That's the reason why it looks weird. Interesting. Making it flat makes them super smooth looking. What we do want to mix this vector. I guess we're scaling on the Y. We actually want to scale on the Z. There's still instances, right? We haven't realized anything yet. Actually, this way. With 0 influence. Actually, this distance, or multiplying it by, we just want just the attribute. How many times can this distance go in here? Perfect. That many times. Then I want to... How do I do that? Ah, math. I hate math. C. That's out, right? Scale doesn't mean anything here. Actually, no, that's fine, because the original positions are 0. So I think we can just... strands. Let them have rotation. So Z is what I want to scale them on. Local space. Is that right though? Yeah, because the length needs to be. Hmm. Okay, then. We'd like to map the range and say the minimum is 0.5 or 2.5. All right, so now I need to delete all this. Duplicate the body low. Line it with body here. Then make sure I'm working in a shape key and not anything else. Otherwise, I will regret it. Do some pretty massive deformations to get anything valuable. So I think we'll actually make a little multiplier here. Double it. fuck's with that one? Not ideal. Thank you. Thank you. I definitely think we made some good progress. You figure out how we can control the hair on the face a little bit better. Which maybe we won't actually use this fur generator for the face. We could also just make some actual more manual ways to make it on the body. mirroring that half for some reason. Funny, it's not mirroring these strands here. All right. I think we'll have to get an actual texture to paint in on the fur. I don't like this patchy Team America looking one. All right, I think I've pretty much done what I can. Just generating the fur. I think that moving forward, we're going to have to actually start making some changes. More textures. That's right. You know what's kind of cool is that I actually can use materials to drive certain properties. And I have all my textures from Substance Painter ready to go. But if I wanted to do something like on the body low poly, if I add a geonode, let's say we'll call this proximity to vertex group, or vertex to color attribute. Thank you, Popstar. We'll do proximity. Proximity. Now we'll do object info. So we can go ahead and sample whatever color we want, or material. And then we'll store a named attribute. And the name will be whatever we want to name it. And the value will be a color stored on the face corner. I can't remember what it prefers. I think it's face corners. Face corners. So then we take this distance and we just put it right here. Okay, and this is on body low. And so what we'll sample is body here. And so it references this object and I reference that object. So we'll just duplicate this and mesh it. That's the one we'll reference. We'll call this for proximity. Okay. Now I'll go to shading. Actually switch this to proximity proxy. Put this right here and hide it. I wonder if I can use GeoNodes to make curves or mesh act like hair with physics, so I can have dynamic hair for cinematic renders. You can use something that I've done before is you can make just a normal mesh with cloth physics, and then you can use the geometry node to put curves onto that mesh. And that way the soft body's still moving it, you have the cloth physics, and then on top of it you're generating the curves, usually using something like the UV map in order to prevent any flickering or something like that. It works pretty well. Go back to just the body. Here, GeoNodes. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get a viewer going and do the distance. Okay. It's not bad. That should be what we're seeing on the actual material now. And I can't really tell. So let's do just the color attribute for now. Yeah, okay, so I can see the tummy color. So that's working, nice. I want to mix it as well with the roughness. Just broke. You have a video I can look at that might explain how to do that. I don't know. Say GeoNode mesh to curves. It's a very shiny werewolf. I don't have a video to reference directly. Um, hmm. My attribute was working a second ago. Hmm. Understand, it was working. Because I did it, or... Huh. Let's split this. Get a geonode. I'm looking at the geometry. I put in the distance. What do I see? Nothing. Go have some indigestion pills, then try for a nap again. My guts become churning for about 2 days straight now for no reason. I just want a decent pecking rest. Have a nice rest, Dale. Hey, same to you. Definitely wishing you well. Your stomach feeling better. Enjoy your day, Arctic. We'll catch you later. Was there a stream where you did that? If so, I can just look at that stream. Not one that I don't, nothing, I'm sure I have. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Or like when that would be. Hmm. Just reload the file really quick. That's fine. I'll just look at it at the stream, try to figure it out. Like learning new techniques. Okay, heck yeah. Why is this working? Absolutely should be working. Oh! Oh, I see. Okay. I disabled this view, so it probably was visible the whole time. Okay, that's good. See it there. Awesome. Now, I would like to see it on the character. Just take the color attribute and plug it into the emission. Strength 1. There we go. I see it. I see it right there. See? Tummy's white. Okay. So it is working. If I plug it directly into the roughness, it's not working. So it must be that I need to grayscale it or... Still too shiny. Interesting. Okay, so trying to use it as a color attribute is odd. Can I just do attribute? Ah, okay. Gotcha. So that was me trying to access it as a color attribute, but there are also just attributes. And so let's try that one. And we're getting the same result. Did I spell it right though? Just make sure, copy, paste. Now if I took this and once again plugged it directly into the base color, we see it. We have that color. There's still a color difference here. And that has to be coming from the factor. Okay, so there's some sort of issue here when we convert it to a value. But I actually should be able to just access any attribute. So why don't we just save it as a float? And I can still see some stuff there. Pipe. In there. Let's map the range. Odd look, that's for sure. So maybe what we need to do is take a yeah, please let me select things. Jesus Christ. Take this, take the distance, put it in as our attribute. Now the value we want goes here, but we need to take the minimum and the maximum in order to actually transfer it. And max. That really should be saving our values. Now they're all 0? That can't be right. Distance. Faces. So I realize that if I take the geometry, looking at the right object, mean, median, sum, min, max, range. Should be working fine. Let's I think it's too small. Do math. Multiply by 100. It's 0. Maybe, oh, okay, I see. For the attribute statistic, I'm actually sampling the wrong mesh. I should be sampling this one. Now we have a little bit of change. don't understand why the map range isn't giving me 0 to 1. Oh! Still just tiny, tiny fractions. It's better though. I mean, actually, some of it gets all the way up there. Okay. Hello, Snardom. Welcome. We are doing some shading stuff right now. Trying to convert attributes to something useful for our shader, but man, it really does not seem to want to work. Which is wild, because it works fine for some of these. But the hair itself is coming out pretty well, so here, I'll show you that. And right now, we just need to make some extra changes. There's some gradation to it as it moves closer, moves along. But for some reason, I can't put this into the roughness. Because the roughness goes weird. Maybe I need to subtract it or something. Do a mix. Put this as the factor. Did you plug it into color? I do have it. It's the white here. The white and black. No, 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 you're totally fine. It's like very slightly less glossy. Everything's overly shiny. It seems like it's going past the normal range of roughness. Maybe it's a little bit less glossy there. Also, actually, how am I even seeing the black and white right now? Because none of it's plugged in. I shouldn't be seeing any gray here. A ramp. Something's definitely weird there. Again, when I plug it into color, it seemed fine. Maybe it should be a little bit darker here. I do also have it as a color attribute. Well, Maybe not. Definitely doing something weird. Do 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 do. I guess we could try inverting it. Well, either way, I should see just some difference. Oh, interesting. But I am mapping the range. I'm mapping the range. I got it. I'm clicking. Reloading for extra ammo. I have no other troubleshooting suggestions at the moment. Darn. Excuse me. I guess we'll just do a color ramp in here. Definitely seems better. That's certainly pretty strong. So hmm. I guess that will work. You know what? I'm just gonna do a little blur. I don't want to blur. Are you using it for the skin, or is this something that needs to transfer to the hair parts as well, the roughness? This is just purely to play around with the shading and getting kind of a better look. Um, yeah. Because I want to take the color here, mix it. Oh, this color. that. And of course, our roughness is all messed up. Metallic can go back. Roughness. Normal map. But we just want to do one more mix, which doesn't really matter if we invert it or not. So we're going to mix color, or it's not a color, so just mix. All right, something like that, where under the fur it's a little bit darker. I wish we had some ambient occlusion in here, because that would make it nicer. All right, but there we go. I think that works a little bit better. Visually. I feel like my fur coverage has changed again. It's like it's kind of patchy on this side, but not this side. Like the hair card results, though, gives some nice fluffy parts. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like it did come together towards the end, thankfully. Hair on this side, it is different. What's that? Turn off the proximity hair. Turn on our normal body hair. Damn it, it also has some sort of discrepancy on the sides. Why is that? Oh, it was just misaligned. Okay, good. Nice. All right, so I do want to go in at some point and then shrink wrap these final smaller hairs, because we are getting some clipping there. I think if we just made sure that they were above the surface, we would get some really nice transition now. All right. But it is 12:25, and I'm going to go ahead and call it here for lunch. So thank you all for hanging out. Snardom, Arctic, Popstar, anyone else that's lurking. Hope you're all having a great day. Ariso, Who else came by today? That's about it. Jan, hope you're having a good one. Yeah, thank you all for hanging out. I will be back pretty soon, just about 2 hours. It's gonna go do my usual, get some lunch and stuff. Yeah, good stuff. Enjoy lunch. Thank you, Snardom. Thank you, everyone. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.